All right, we are on air. It is Thursday, August 20th, 2015. We're just going to do a quick check-in on what's going on with Backdrop, get some exciting news today. We want to start by saying that if you want a PHP Storm license, Backdrop CMS Contrib developers are welcome to have one. We have a handful left. Send an email to info@backdropcms.org, and we can send one of those to you if you're a member. Updates from the PMC. We got a very exciting piece of mail from the United States. We have officially gotten our trademark approved, which is really exciting. That means that nobody else can call something Backdrop and compete with us in ways that may be fair or unfair. I don't know exactly what all of the details are about having a trademark, but no, Drupal has one, and we wanted one, so we got one. It took us a while. We had a really great phone call with a lady at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office who helped to kind of explain to us what it meant to have one in specific categories, and we were able to choose the categories that we thought were most relevant for us and get that ironed out. So we've got the trademark, which is fantastic. The follow-up for this is to get, instead of just a trademark on the name, which is what we have now, we also want to get a trademark. Less important because we weren't, I don't know, the name, people type the name on the internet, the logo is just kind of a visual thing. We're on the internet, so there will be more typing than picturing, I suppose. But we are going to do a follow-up and get the logo trademarked as well. We are not going to trademark the dragon. The dragon is for the world. We want everybody to steal and use the dragon as much as they want. So, dragon stays. All right, Nate, do you want to do community growth for Backdrop?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. Cool back. All right, so community growth lands. There are 38 total contributed authors that have joined the Backdrop Contrib group. No new members since last week. So people that are out there, if you're interested in participating in Backdrop, we'd love to have some additional faces around the Backdrop Contrib group. You can join by visiting github.com/backdrop-ops/contrib, and that's where you can sign up to join the Backdrop Contrib group. Of course, you can port modules on your own at any time, and they don't need to be part of the Contrib group, but it's a good idea so that we can collaborate on them and work on them together. There are 141 total Contrib projects for Backdrop CMS. One new one since last week. I think it's another theme, which is exciting. And I didn't update the count this week, but around 61 projects total that have official releases, but the number keeps going up as well. So it's great to see those official releases being created and pushed out. Let's see. I usually roll into the next category, which is infrastructure. Let's see. Not a whole lot of things have been changing here. So update status checking. We'll get to this later, but update status has been working and functioning for a long time now. You may have noticed that yesterday, if you are running a Backdrop 1.1.2 site, that your Backdrop site notified you that 1.1.3 was out, because that happened yesterday, which is very exciting to get some of those fixes out, but we'll talk about that later. Let's see. The one things that we're still stuck on as far as update status checking goes is that we're not displaying analytics numbers anywhere yet. Once the modules and themes pages get styled out on backdropcms.org, then we'll put usage statistics up on there, since we are gathering that data. And let's see. And also, we want to make it so that we build a server-side, server-side/client-side project browser to make it so you can find and install modules from within your own Backdrop website. And that client side is pretty well done, but the server side is still hung up. Sorry, it's me again. Because there's been other things that has been going on this week. So hopefully soon we'll get the server side taken are taken care of and started up, and then we can keep looking into merging that client-side project, either just as contrib for starters or into core in the near future. Let's see, Drush for Backdrop. Jen, you've been working on that recently. How has that been going?
Yeah, so last week I was finally able to figure out exactly how I had to set everything up to try and work on Drush, which is kind of weird. Like you have to add a Drush file to Drush and a Drush file to Backdrop, and where you put it in Drush is like in your local version of document in the issue. And finally got it all set up and I got it working, and I ran into exactly the same problems that Jeff ran into before, which I thought was a lot of progress. And then I started kind of sorting through them, and I think I figured out what we need to do for next steps. Basically, when Drush bootstraps Drupal, it has this class that has all of these functions that it calls to make stuff happen. And when Drush bootstraps Backdrop, it extends that same class. And I think that there's two sets of functions there. One of them are like functions that it calls to do things, and the other one is this like validate functions that it calls before it does the things. And I think that we also need to override validate functions in addition to the regular functions. And some of those aren't listed in, there's like a class mapping part of the class, and I think that the validate functions are called just by naming convention. They aren't specifically mapped in the mapping, and so I think that if we just start overriding them, they'll be called by naming convention, and I don't know. So I think there's just a couple of missing pieces there. I'm gonna try and take steps, but I'm just very excited to have gotten to the same problem last week when we had this call. I was like, well, I don't really know why it's not working, and now I know exactly why it's not working. So I think that's good, and it doesn't look like there's too much work there left to be done. So I'm hopeful about getting that going soon. Okay, so let's see. Other things that are infrastructure tasks, since we're back over here. Flagship website. I know Wes has been doing a ton of work on the theming stuff. Hey, Wes, do you want to give us an update on where we stand?
We'll see if my dog stops barking. Yeah, so I made a lot of progress over the weekend, and there's one kind of underlying thing that I'm working on just to make sure that as we have more and more pages that are using this one layout, that it's going to work well for us. So yep. So yeah, the modules page is looking good, and then I have some questions about the view we can talk about later. So yeah, should be done hopefully after this weekend.
Yay! That's super exciting. So as soon as those are done, we'll be able to link up the modules, themes, and layouts pages from primary navigation, and then anyone who's looking for modules, themes, or layouts for Backdrop will be able to find them directly on Backdrop CMS. I think is huge for us, especially getting that done before Drupal 8 is out. Will make us look like we are, ready to roll, which I think is super exciting because people are going to start comparing Backdrop and Drupal 8 as soon as that happens. So. Very cool. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff coming down the pipe for the flagship website that is a little lower priority. Just to list those things really quickly, you guys have heard this a million times already. We want to do a showcase site so people can post sites they've built in Backdrop. We want to do a jobs board so people can post jobs and find jobs. We want to do a list of service providers if you're looking for a hosting company, a developer, designer, marketing experts, all of that. We want to do an event calendar, so if you want to go to a Backdrop-specific event, you can find one. And if anyone has any other great ideas about things that Drupal.org has that we don't have, or things that Drupal.org doesn't have that we also want to include, we are open to listening to those. We are also going to start trying to set up a single sign-on with GitHub so that people can create accounts on the Backdrop site. That'll give contrib module maintainers the ability to edit their module node on backdropcms.org. The same is true for layouts and themes, of course. And we'll also try and see if there's other things we want people to be able to do, like give us demographic information. Where do you live? What language do you speak? Anything like that that we think could be useful. Are you a developer? Are you a designer? Are you interested in hiring? I don't know, being hired. some other information that might be valuable we could collect on people there as well. Okay, so lots of cool stuff going on. Let's talk about Backdrop, the project itself. Nate, do you want to talk about the release that came out yesterday?
Yeah, it was really exciting. Really exciting in kind of the wrong ways, actually. So yesterday, we coordinated with the Drupal security team. They've been preparing to get out a bunch of fixes for a while now. And so, although it was a little bit of a whirlwind, we got all of those fixes fixed in Drupal and fixed in Backdrop. There were 5 security fixes total in Backdrop. And actually, I think there were 6 in Drupal. There was a bug in overlay that we did not include because we don't have overlay. But yeah, it was great. It was great to see all of the security fixes go in. They'd been queued up for a long time. They all ported really easily over to Drupal, but we maintain our parity. And thanks again, as always, to the Drupal security team for helping coordinate a release with us. That is always super helpful. It also included some other stuff that was nice. It included like 24 some small fixes or so. Lots of Paul's work has been getting in there, trickling in. Wes's new field set styling, Wes and Darius's combo styling is now in as well, and some other smaller things. So it's great to see that, to get that rolling out. I mean, we haven't had a new release in a couple months, so exciting to see that coming out. Let's see. There were a couple issues that, in the flurry of getting all the security fixes done, that were tagged for 1.1.3 that didn't get pushed in, but I have just bumped those to 1.1.4. So there's actually 2 issues in there. 1.1.4, the next minor release, we'll release that whenever we collect enough bugs and things like that to warrant another release. At this rate, we only have a couple of weeks before 1.2, and so what will probably happen, same as last time, is we'll do one final 1.1 release. So it may be that 1.1.4 comes out the same day that 1.2.0 comes out, just to make it so that 1.1.x gets all of its last remnants of patches and stuff like that all committed into an official version number, but 1.2 may be coming out the same day. That includes all of those fixes plus the new features like the new WYSIWYG stuff. So that's the plan. Let's see, 1.2.0, September 15th, now less than 4 weeks away, and coming right on up. We've got some major features that we would like to include in 1.2.0, including a rich text editor, date, link, and email fields. The rich text editor is coming along great. It's already in. CK Editor has been in there for a couple weeks now. All of the testing that's been going on has been really positive, and it's been really great. Right now, we're working on improving upload of images into CK Editor. It actually doesn't need tests anymore. This is actually ready. So we added tests. We backported all this stuff from Drupal 8 and added some of our own tests in there. So we now have that ready for commit. It's been tested by a couple people, but if you get a chance to review issue 1088, that adds file uploading into WYSIWYG, and it's nice, very nice. There's also some other follow-up issues for WYSIWYG stuff, all of which can be done after release. I think the file uploading was the thing that we really, really wanted to get in beforehand. And that issue is issue 1087. That includes a bunch of other stuff. I know Doc Wilmot's been working on things like reworking the text format UI, because now with the addition of the editor settings plus the filter settings, it can be a little bit overwhelming in there. And that came along pretty well, but it's a little bit stuck because we ran into some problems around form validation and AJAXing of dialogues. But I'm hoping that we'll still be able to get that and other improvements in before release. Okay, next up, date. Date field. Graham posted an update this week, basically saying that he's taken it as far as he can, and right now he's waiting on further reviews. So I think it's a really positive sign. I think date is coming along really fantastic, and he's done an excellent job. However, I haven't had a whole lot of time to give it a full in-depth review, and I think if anything needs a lot of review right now with the date module, because that's the one that's probably the most complicated and the one that we've looked at the least, other than Graham. We've been going at it hard, and I'm most worried that would be, if anything, the thing that gets bumped out of the release. So I'd love to see that not happen, however. So take a look at issue 478 if anybody has time, and help get that reviewed. Let's see. Link module, or link field, issue 240. I did a bunch of work on this this week. Unfortunately, I kind of got stuck in a rabbit hole because, first of all, it all worked really well. But then I was trying to figure out, there's like a number of like kind of critical bugs in link module right now in the contrib version. In particular, like it doesn't support new top level domains. So there's stuff like there's a whole bunch of domains like .construction and .jeweler and all of those, and there's like a couple hundred of those, and none of those domain names work with link module, which I think will be an increasingly large problem. But getting rid of that functionality turned out to be a little messier than I had expected, the link validation. So I'm not quite sure what to do there. I think maybe I should just give up on trying to fix that stuff and put in what we've got, because it has been working for 777, and we can just fix it after release. So maybe I should do that and just kind of reel in the perfectionism a little bit. But it's looking really good. I think if I can push up my cleaned up version a little bit, maybe I'll roll back all that validation, and then Jeff maybe could give it another review, and then we can push that in. I don't think that's far away from being done at all. It's super close.
Good.
Email field. Doc Wilmot and Paul had a lot of back and forth on email field. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Paul, is there anything that you are aware of that is holding that up? How's it looking overall?
I mean, one of the comments that Doc Wilmot was saying was about having just one email format instead of the 4 that were in the original module. So I don't know what you want to do about that, or how you want to proceed with that.
Right. Yeah, you already knocked out one I saw, which was good. The span approach, which makes sense because that's a wildly esoteric functionality. Yeah, I see what so I think what Drupal 8 did, and this does make sense, is they only have one display format instead of 2, but then they have settings on the one display format for whether or not it's linked or not, which makes sense. However, we need to deal with people upgrading from 777, so one way or the other, like keeping them right now makes it so that it's more compatible, and we'll need to write an upgrade path eventually to rename that into a single format, I think. So I would say for now, let's just stick around with the ones that we've got, because it's important for upgrading and important for compatibility, and then we can work on an update path in the future.
Sounds good.
That's it. Let's see. There's also some issues tagged for 1.2.0. some of which are kind of exciting, but all of which could be postponed to 1.3 if necessary. There's some stuff like global redirect kind of functionality, which would be really cool, and some other things that if we get around to it and if we have time, then we're all up for expanding functionality in 1.2 wherever possible. But the focus is really on these fields and on the WYSIWYG's functionality. We are looking ahead also to the next next minor release, 1.3. And 1.3 won't come out until January 15th, and that's not 2015, that's 2016. Yeah, January 15th, 2016. And our plan for 1.3 at this point, we don't have anything marked on the roadmap because we're reaching the level of feature parity with 888 that we have set out to accomplish, which is fantastic because it looks like we'll probably get pretty much there before 888 is actually released. But 1.3, our plan is to mostly do cleanup. Cleanup on the layout functionality, not cleanup, but expansion of the features that are already there. Layouts, although great and the base system is really flexible, a lot of expanded functionality isn't there yet to reach parity with panels. And so we want to expand out layouts. We want to expand out a lot of the UIs. We want to improve things like the way fields are added and things like that. So there's a bunch of UX improvements that we want to expand upon for the 1.3 release, but we don't actually have any real killer features for that release. I think that alone we'll end up with a lot of stuff if we start focusing on cleaning and polishing. There's so much work to be done that I think that 1.3 will still be a really great release, even without any new major headline modules really.
And that list too is just it's still growing. That was just kind of going through the issue queue and saying these are the things I think we should work on, but I think we should definitely spend more time on user interface usability stuff. And if anything else comes up that we need to improve, we should just add that to the milestone. So I think it's a great idea to kind of spend some time polishing stuff. I also think it would be a great idea to spend a bunch of time in contrib. So if we can keep the tasks we're working on fairly straightforward, we'll be able to make a lot of progress everywhere else too.
Yeah, it'd also be a great time to kind of cool down our core development focus and start working on our community aspects. I know that there's been some mutterings that we really would be better off in a lot of ways if we actually gave Backdrop CMS some love and turned it into a community website, which we're still looking into and considering. And things like we need to get people able to log into the website and able to create content directly on it. And then from there we can see what that will turn into. But definitely give us some opportunities to improve a lot of the tools around Backdrop rather than the software itself.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, we always mention it. There's a tag for UX and a tag for DX. That if you're just looking for general improvements to Backdrop, small issues that can be tackled, or maybe sometimes not so small, there's dozens and dozens of UX issues that we would like to improve the experience of using Backdrop continuously. And when any one of those issues is ready to be committed, we will get it in as soon as possible for the next minor release. Every Thursday, today, we get together and we do some work on Backdrop. You can hang out in #Backdrop in IRC, and we'll be around in the afternoon/evening, pounding away on Backdrop stuff. We also do code reviews and pull requests and all of the excitement in the GitHub queue. And also, we have a Reddit channel for a general water cooler kind of conversation stuff. If you just want to post things that are relevant to Backdrop or presentations that you've seen or done, or any other things related to all things Backdrop. We have a group.com/r/Backdrop. Let's see, Jen, you want to talk about upcoming events?
Sure. So we have, let's see, it is the end of August right now. I think next week? Yeah, next weekend is Drupal Camp LA. So if you are in or near LA or want to travel to LA, Drupal Camp LA is a great event. We were there last year. It was fantastic. It's at UC Irvine, which is a really beautiful part of that part of the world. And it is a backdrop-friendly event, most importantly. So if you want to talk to other people about Backdrop, that's a good place to go and do it. John is often in our Hangouts here. He's not here today, but maybe he'll watch later. Yeah, so definitely recommend attending Drupal Camp LA. And shortly after that, we have the Nerd Summit, which is September 11th through 13th, that Nate and I will be keynoting at. And that's an exciting event because it's not a Drupal camp. It is kind of an open source CMS event where they're going to have WordPress stuff and they're going to have other CMSs as well. And we volunteered to be on a CMS panel, so it'll probably be a bunch of people talking about doing things differently on different CMSs. I don't know exactly what it'll entail, but I'm excited to be a part of that. So hopefully we'll get our first shot at being on stage with other big players in the CMS world. There's a whole bunch of other events, too, coming up farther into the future. They're all on a iCal feed we have available currently. You can get it from the contribute page on backdropcms.org. It's also on our Reddit. If you want to subscribe to that and find out what's happening. Most notably, we have our first Backdrop Summit coming up October 22nd as part of Bad Camp, which is the Thursday before Bad Camp starts. We're hoping to have a bunch of tutorial-type sessions in the morning with show and tell a little bit about the why of Backdrop, the significant differences between Drupal 7 and Backdrop, and then a couple of more in-depth sessions on theming, module development, and maybe porting the site. We've got some potential speakers lined up, but we're always looking for more. So if anyone's watching this video and wants to present on something specific, let us know. We're definitely open to that. And in the afternoon, we thought we would do a little sprint or break out into sessions where people could talk about solving certain problems. If anyone wants to do working groups where you're actually building a site and you want to, focus on something in particular, problem you're having, or ways to improve things in Backdrop, we'd definitely love to talk about that. But it'll be a little more free form. Based on who's in the room, we'll try and form working sessions based on what people want to hear about. So definitely come to Bad Camp. It's a free camp in Berkeley. If you are traveling from out of town, we also have scholarships available. Usually we expect a shift or two to be volunteered in exchange for the scholarship, but we do have a budget for getting people out there. Okay, so I guess that's it for now. Are there any questions or anything we should talk about this week that's not on the agenda?
Yeah, I do want to just throw out there that Paul, I'll connect with you in IRC because I know your time this summer is done. So I want to. Is it possible? This is probably your last week with us in meetings and things like that, isn't it?
I can work a little bit next week if that would help.
Okay. Well, of course, we'll take all of the help that you can give us because you've been tremendously helpful over the course of the summer. And the event that you don't, an event that you're heading back to school and don't make it to more meetings, I do want to officially thank you, Paul, for your amazing summer internship with Backdrop, and everybody give him a silent applause.
Applause.
Yeah, because you've been a tremendous help, and we've really appreciated having you on the project.
I've really enjoyed working with all of you.
All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody. We will connect again next week. All right. Bye, guys.
Happy Backdrop Day.